There's something about nature that I really want to bring to your attention. Nature is where we're from, brother. Nature is where we all started. You see, so many people nowadays have an aversion to nature. They get around anything that isn't perfect, I guess you could say, and they get to freaking out, right? We see it all the time with bugs in particular. Bugs, grass, dirt, various different things like that. And some people just freak out. Now I get it. You want to be clean, all this good stuff. Yeah, we're civilized. We want to be clean. My point is that when you have a complete aversion to nature, you're cutting yourself off from so much of the goodness of life. You see, I believe it is our material world that has created this sense, right? This man-made materialistic world that we live in and societies that we live in that has created the sense of the unimportant nature, right? The unimportance of nature. Because again, we come from nature. We are natural beings. Part of us is animal. We have to respect the natural systems and the natural things a part of our nature, right? We have to respect our nature. Yet nowadays more than ever we think we can just change the laws of the universe. We think we can just change the laws of the world, meaning we think we can take nature into our own hands. Right? Now we can create our own lives and own realities and have all these amazing things, but you must respect nature. You must respect the natural ebb and flow of things. Because the natural ebb and flow of things, truthfully, is founded upon right foundations, and the right foundations of rightful living. Humanity, having a deeper sense of connection with other people. So many people live in this disconnected state of materialism that truthfully is a direct representation of how much they are really connected to other people. But those are the same people that will try and connect to others in various ways, right? Like, and try and do good and do good. Don't get me wrong, but know where you're coming from. Know where you're coming from. Like, being unhealthy, it's not natural. It's not fucking natural to be unhealthy. Yet, more nowadays, more than ever, we support it in certain ways. You're lowering your lifespan, you're decreasing your quality of life, you're giving yourself 100 different issues, and don't worry, the doctors will give you whatever you need to numb it or to fix it. But you're the one creating it ultimately, and you're being influenced by a society that encourages it as well. Encourages it as well. I know it myself. When I grew up, I was this fat, chunky kid. I played video games incredibly too much. I became this socially anxious, fat, little chubby kid. Let me not be negative right there. See that? I got to remove that negativity. But I grew up this kid who was overweight, obese. I had a lot of self doubt, a ton of self doubt. I was so overly critical of myself. And in a way, rightfully so. Right? I was beating myself up because I knew I wasn't doing enough for myself, even as a young child. My conscience was eating it. Now, the self talk, the negative self talk, that pretty much just caused issues. That caused me to hurt and have pain and be disconnected from my real self. And so that's not good, right? But there's a reason why I was there. You see, if I was to be given the perfect advice back then, I believe it would have been, hey man, don't beat yourself up, but think about why it is that you're feeling these ways. You feel this kind of way because you can't communicate with others, right? Or you feel this kind of way about communicating with others because you struggle to do so, and you know that there's some part of you knows that connection comes from others, right? Like, connecting to other people is a very fun thing to do. It's a very meaningful thing to do, yet you struggle with it. Why? Well, you play too many video games. You're stuck in the house all the time. That's the kind of thought process I could have gone through. Again, we're talking about me at 12 years old, so but I'm saying it hypothetically. If there was the perfect advice I could give to myself, this is what it would be. I would also be overly self-critical of my weight, the way I looked, this, that, and the third. I would tell myself now, hey man, you're beautiful in your own way. Your physical body and your physical self is not the true um, representation of your soul. It is a representation of your habits, though. And the reason why you feel so negative about these things and you're so hard on yourself about these facts of your life is because you know deep down there's a greater sense of self out there. You know deep down you could be doing more. Your biological system says, hey man, you could be strong, you could be fast, you could be this, that, you could be all these different good things. But instead, you're sitting here playing a video game day in and day out, wasting energy. All this unexpressed energy is just ruminating inside. All I had time to do was to build up, was to break myself down, to beat myself up because I should have been out there having fun. But it's all about the process, right? It's all about the journey of developing. And the issues we have are meant to transform us in our adult life, in our older life, if we face them. But that's just it. This material world we live in will tell you every step of the way that you don't need to face those issues. That you should just, it's okay. Mental health, go get a pill, go talk to a doctor so you can get some medications, so you can avoid the reality of whatever it is that your mind is trying to tell you. Now, if you have to take certain steps to prevent suicide, please, God, do it. Don't kill yourself, dude. Don't end the amazing potential that you have. Don't end this amazing life that you have. Have waiting, I should say. But the thing is that it's so unnatural. We go and take a prescription pill from the doctor that affects our entire hormonal makeup, that affects our entire hormonal regulation that we can do ourselves, that humans have done for thousands of years. But it's when we take these unnatural ideas and we make them our own, such as labels. I'm always talking about the labels. When we make these labels our own, we take the humanity out of ourselves. We overgeneralize ourselves. We say, I'm just anxious. No, man, you have a bad habit of being unfocused. And it's gotten progressively worse. Now you have this tendency and this tendency and this pattern and this pattern. You have all these different things that have stemmed from this lack of focus. Maybe it's because you watched too much TV growing up. Maybe it's because you got on social media early on. Maybe it's because your parents never did very focusing activities with you. Maybe it's all of the above. I know it was for me, at least, the TV, the video games, all that kind of stuff. That doesn't mean it has to be a reality. It doesn't mean that has to be who you are. It shouldn't be. That is not real. It's a man-made concept made to keep you in the fucking grave, made to keep you in the doctor's office paying the money. You see, you create the disease so you can sell the solution. Don't get me started with all that. What I am saying is that you must, the nature, the natural living of all life, we miss and lose sight of it in our day-to-day culture. And it's showing. It's showing very much so for so many people around the world. Obesity is higher than ever. Anxiety is worse than ever. Suicide is worse than ever. Yet there's this notion of mental health. Take care of your mental health by actually solving the problems that your mentality is trying to tell you, that your mind is trying to tell you. Don't avoid them by going to the doctor and getting a medication. For men in particular, there's always been this notion of emotions not being important. You don't have emotions, take your emotions out of it, man. That's a part of the old matrix system as well. If you can control men by taking their emotions out of it, they don't realize they are energetic beings and they can no longer fight for good. They can no longer create differently. So they're just pawns of the system. They're just pawns of another man's control. You see, it's the opposite for girls in history and whatever else you want to say. There, more emotion is allowed from women in historically. So you can control them by allowing them to be overly emotional about everything. You have anxiety, well, you need this medication, and I know, honey, it's okay. We got you. You don't got yourself. We got you. We got you. We got you. The Matrix is after us all. The devil is after us all. But nature is always fucking here. Nature is always here. We can always return back to the natural principles. And if you ask me, nature will always win. Nature will always be able to fight its way back because we're natural beings. We're natural beings from the earth. And from the earth and to the earth we will return. So do yourself a favor and get out into some nature today. Get out into some nature, Be more than you were yesterday. Appreciate yourself for what you are. Have gratitude. Don't always be seeking something external that somebody else created. Create from within and break those bad habits that are still holding you back from the life that you want to live. Those old mental patterns that keep you stuck in limbo of which is in between where you are right now and where you want to go, and the avoidance that comes from not continuing to pursue it. Go back into nature, live more naturally, avoid the overly uh, materialistic creations being your entire makeup of your mind, being your entire mentality, being your entire system of appreciation. Love your life, brother. Love your fucking life and do something about it to make it different if you're not happy where it's at. But be grateful for where you're at either way. Go into nature, man. Get some more nature. I love you guys. Let's go.